Hello, this is the String Guy here. I'm here to do a review on my Dirty 30s Series 9 Parlor guitar. If you want to know its exact model, it's RPH-P2-TS. Now let me give you a little story why I bought this guitar. I was looking for a Parlor guitar, and I first was looking for used ones. And I was mostly I looked at Stellas just because they seemed to like being a very popular Parlor guitar. But every single one of them I saw, the neck, they were made without, any kind of truss rod or anything, which this one does have. And every single Stella I've seen needed a neck reset. I'm not saying there aren't some out there that do not need a neck reset, but every single one I've seen did. And a neck reset's $400 to $500. And to me, I did not want to pay the price. You can find the Stellas for $80 to $200. And then to put another $400 to $500 on top, it wasn't worth it to me for a Parlor guitar. I just wanted something that I could take around, something that's light and easy to carry, and I could take it small for when I go on vacation and go camping, things like that I could take along. I just wanted a nice Parlor guitar. And I was talking to my local guitar shop, which is only about 4 miles away. So I'm really fortunate to have a guitar shop so close. And the owner, he inherited the store from his father, and he's been repairing guitars since he's been a kid, and he's one of the most respected guitar repairmen in our area. In fact, I know some secondhand guitar stores that they send all their stuff for repairs to him. He's good. So anyways, I went there, and I talked to him about I was looking for Parlor guitars, because he had a Stella on the wall. I said, "Oh, that's just a wall hanger. It's bowed so bad, it would not be worth the money to get it fixed." So anyways, but he says, Recording King, he's a Recording King dealer. He goes, "I don't have it in stock, but I could order one for you." And so he told me about them, and I looked at their specs, looked at their website, and basically, Recording King actually has several, but I only looked at the Series 9, because those have solid tops. There's Series 7 that doesn't have solid tops. In case you don't know who Recording King is, that used to be the Montgomery Ward house brand. And they've been making them for years for Montgomery Ward. And when Montgomery Ward went out of business, they started having to promote themselves. They didn't want to go out of business. They stayed making guitars. And their guitars are designed in America, but made in China. Now, before you say, made in China. Made in China really comes down to what did you order? What does the factory order? They will build you whatever you want. You want quality, they'll build you quality. You want crap, they'll build you crap. It just so happens that all the companies who want to make a cheap $30 guitar, make a cheap junky thing just to have some kind of kid's guitar, they all go to China. So naturally, you see a lot of junky Chinese guitars, but that's because all the junk manufacturers go to China to have them made. But plenty of legitimate companies. I have an Ibanez acoustic that's made in China. It is great guitar. I have a Grote guitar made in China. Great guitar. If you spec it out and you order quality, Chinese factories will make you a quality guitar. So having said that, let me go back to Recording King has 2 in their Dirty Series 9. The Dirty 30s is because they're made to look as close as possible today as what they were selling back in the 1930s. They have this one that's called the Parlor, and it's in the name, and then they have a single O that they also say is a Parlor guitar. The difference between the two, in all the spec, they're almost exactly the same except for 2 big issues. One is this one is 12 frets to the body, what they call a 12 fret guitar. The other one's 14 frets to the body, like most modern acoustic guitars are. Now, if you bought guitars at the turn of the century, they were 12 fret. It wasn't until Martin did their first 14 fret back in the 20s or so, then they started going to 14. But anyways, it's a 14 fret. The other difference is this one's scale length from nut to saddle is 24.2. Their other one is 25.4, which is more your standard length of most guitars. Unless you be at a Gibson. Gibson has not all Gibsons. Some Gibsons are the full 25.5, but if you get like a Gibson Hummingbird or you get a Gibson J45, they have the shorter scale length of 24.75. Because shorter scale length, for a given string, the longer the string, the more tension it takes to keep it from sagging. Like if you have a 6-inch string and stretch it, takes certain pressure. 12-inch string will take more pressure to keep it from sagging due to the weight and the pull of gravity on a longer surface. So shorter scale length means less pressure. I read that like the Gibson's 24.75 versus the 25.5 is 9% less pressure. I don't know what it'd be for 24.2 because now you're 0.55 over half an inch shorter yet. So I'm thinking that it's probably, I didn't do the math, but it has to be at least 15, 17, 18% less pressure. It's definitely an easy fret guitar. In fact, so much so that I was surprised it came with 12s on it. Like all my acoustics have 10s, but they're all my acoustics. Well, my Grote is a 24.75, but that's a semi-hollow. But all the rest of my other acoustics are 25.5. So I have 10s in them. But I tell you what, the 12 fretted nice. But because I'm an Elixir fan, I did change the strings down to 11s because I'm more comfortable with 11s. Well, I didn't want to go to 10s. I was going to go to 10s, but I was afraid they would get floppy. But the 11s didn't get floppy on it. They didn't get more silent. But I just wanted to see what 11s, and it really frets easy now with 11s. Put 10s on it, it's going to be like fretting butter. I mean, the other advantage you get with shorter scale length that people don't talk much about is, because remember now, versus a standard guitar, it's 24.2. This is about 1.2 to 1.3, basically an inch and a quarter shorter length. Well, guess what? That shorter length all comes out of these frets, each fret space. So the distance from fret to fret is less. So if you're trying to do something like this, it's a lot easier. In fact, it felt like when I could play, when I jumped on this thing, my playing seemed way better because less pressure and less distance. So chords that you really had to stretch your hand for, you don't have to stretch as far with this shorter scale length. So there are some fun things about it. This is a fun guitar to play. Now also, because of the shorter scale length and the shorter length, this would also be a great kid's guitar. Because starting guitar, if you have a young child learning, that has a smaller hands, rather than go clear down to those kids' guitars that are usually junk laminate and sound terrible, and the kid gets a lousy ear for music, get them one of these, and they're going to sound great. Now let me tell you a little bit about the construction on this guitar. It's a solid Sitka spruce top. That was one of the things I really liked about it, solid Sitka. Now granted, the back and sides are laminate, made of some kind of wood called whitewood. But the main thing, and I've seen tons of reviews on it, yes, great, all solid is great, but the big difference is the solid top. I mean, over laminate, a world of difference in sound. But you don't get that big a difference in sound once you get to getting solid back and sides. The big thing is getting that solid top. The other things that were amazing at this price point, which I'll get to the price point in a minute, it comes with a bone nut, bone saddle, which you usually don't get in these lines. To get out of the way, it was $225. I paid for this at my local guitar store. I could have probably got it for $215, $219 if I would ordered online, but the reason I bought it from him, actually turned out three reasons. One, he includes a free setup when he sells a new guitar. Well, for the $6 to $10 I could have saved buying it online, a setup. Why? I mean, he goes through, checks the slots. He adjusted the saddle, sanded the saddle just a little bit just to get it just nice. He said it didn't need major work, but he had to do some minor work. Even if you're capable of doing it on your own, for the first $6 or $10, why would you? Why would you spend that time? And here's the other thing. So which actually I did. For some reason, the recording only comes with one strap button, just the one on the bottom. It doesn't come with one up top. Well, I said before I took it home, I said, I want to get a strap button put on this. He says, I'll do that right now. He put a strap button. I said, how much are you for the strap button? No charge. So I got my strap button. So right there wiped out the $6 to $10. I mean, I might have got a strap button for $3 or something, but why would I want to monkey around, drilling it, mounting it, when for that price, I got this thing set up for $225 come out of it. Okay, so solid Sitka spruce top. The neck is made out of NATO. The fretboard is Ovankol. It's spelled Ovangkol. I read that's some kind of relative of mahogany. It's not bad wood. The tuners they're made to look like what you would have got back in the 1930s. They're not great tuners, but they're not bad, and they look appropriate. They look appropriate for this. It holds tune okay, so, you know, I don't see any big need to change them because it would mess the look up unless you buy some expensive, you know, ones that look like it. The headstock's kind of plain, just plain looking headstock. The frets, I don't see any speck on the frets. I can feel the ends, but nothing great. Not much fret sprout. Now I will mention the only downside I've seen on this guitar is these fret markers. They're either like silk screened or painted on. They use a term of, they called it Harmonella stencils. They were stenciled on. Okay, but a 225 guitar, yeah, I had to cut some corners somewhere, so I wasn't expecting anything big. They put like a binding, you know, around the sound hole. No fancy rosette or anything like that. But for 225, what do you expect? You got boned up, solid top, and like I said, and it did come with the D'Addario strings, the D'Addario 12s. But I wanted to go to 11s to see what 11s are like, and I like electrics. The other strings sounded fine. It fretted nice, but I just wanted to see if it would fret even better with 11s. I don't know if I would try 10s or not. I might try 10s, but in fact, I kept the D'Addario strings. I didn't throw them away just in case I didn't like the 11s on there. And the D'Addarios, I mean, they were decent D'Addarios, not cheap. So it wasn't off-brand strings. So like I said, the only thing I could see that I would call cheap on this were the fret markers. But you know, if you wear them off, you're going to be playing this thing an awful long time. You know, you're not going to quickly wear those fret markers off. But that's my only gripe on the whole guitar. When I look inside, everything's tidy. The kerfing, or whatever they call that, where it comes around the bottom and fastens it on, it's all well good. I don't see glue marks. Didn't see any flaws in the paint. This is called the Tobacco Sunburst. It's the only color this thing comes, and the other one, the Single, the longer scale length, same thing. But it's a very attractive guitar. Very attractive. You know, very attractive guitar. Like I said, it only came with one strap button, so you'll have to figure out getting a second button. If I were you, I'd find a local recording dealer and buy it through them rather than buy it mail. But that's up to you. I mean, if you know how to do your own work. So I can't really tell you how they come set up from if you buy it mail order. I got mine from my local dealer, but he said it didn't take him a lot of work to do this, get the setup. It holds tune pretty good. Let me run through tune it quick, let you hear a little bit about sound. The other thing, the volume on this thing, I was worried about. That was everything I was scared about when I went to 11s, because it has what they call a cross-lap X bracing. Either that or because it's a 12 fret, because in case you don't realize, when you have a 12 fret, because now instead of being the 14th fret here, which would move it up further, which would move the saddle up further, the saddle's down here, the bridge is down here further down in the bout, and they claim 12 frets make certainly a different sound, because the distance to the sound hole is much bigger on a 12 fret than it is on a 14 fret. Let me just quickly check the tuning on this thing. Okay, I had tuned it up before I started the video. I just wanted to make sure it hadn't changed or anything. Okay, I'll just give you a couple chords here to give some idea of the sound. granted, I'm fumble fingering playing, especially when I'm in front of the camera, I mess up. But I just wanted to get you the idea that the sound. It has big sound for such a small guitar. Big sound. Now it does not have deep. It does not have the deep bass sounds. It just doesn't have the deep smooth. Doesn't have the deep sounds, but it's got great mids and top end. Great mids and top end. Great guitar for sitting there plucking around, singing to. Be a great campfire guitar. It's a very nice guitar. Very lightweight. Holds tune well. Not expensive, and it frets so easy because of the short scale length. And being 12 fret. You know. It's a great guitar. Like I said, it's Recording King. It's not a Martin. It's not a Gibson. It's not of that quality, but it's not junk either. It's not a junk guitar. It doesn't hurt your ears to listen to it. It's definitely a decent guitar. And if you're looking for an inexpensive parlor guitar, I've had this now 6 months. I waited for a while to do a review until I had it for a while and see if my feelings changed, because I really liked it when I first got it. Man, wanted to say if I had buyer's remorse, no buyer's remorse, I would give this a 2 thumbs up, recommend to anybody that wanted to buy this thing, to buy it. It's a great guitar. And it's just fun to have a parlor guitar. If you've got all kinds of expensive guitars, spring for a parlor guitar, because it's just handy. Just handy to throw around, and it's just handy. It's comfortable, it's nice, it's intimate. That short scale length, I mean, they do have the one that's a normal scale. Like if you think you wouldn't be comfortable with a smaller guitar, with too small guitar, and you can go with the other one that's got the 24.4 length and the 14 fret. But I like this 12 fret. I don't use this for my intricate playing, and I only do a handful of songs where this would be a problem down here, and because all my other acoustics all have a cutaway. This is my only one without a cutaway. Well, no, I have a classical guitar that doesn't have a cutaway, but all my other guitars have a cutaway. So it was a little change for me, but a pleasant change. Granted, you're not going to play every song for it. It's probably not going to be a song. In fact, it's probably going to be a guitar. The only place I will use it, I lead music in a 5th and 6th grade Sunday school class, so I'll probably use it there, simply because it's easy to transport in and out every Sunday. Once COVID ends, we can have the class again. But it's a great guitar. So most people aren't going to buy this to perform with. This is more a pleasure guitar to sit around the house. You want to play, you want to plunk around and just have fun, because that shorter scale length really does it's amazing how much easier it is to hit some of those frets. It's the easiest playing guitar. And like I said, for a young person, you can see the trouble, you get those I call those kids guitars, you get them for like $100, $150. They cost almost as much as this. And I've never heard of one of them sound anywhere close to this. And I worry about a kid having a poor sounding guitar. Yes, it's small for the hands. I think this gets close enough that most kids, if they're 3 or 4, but if they're 8 or 9, they shouldn't have any trouble with this at this scale length, and they get a decent sound. Because if a kid gets started with a lousy sounding guitar, now they have a lousy ear. They don't even know what the chord's supposed to sound like, right? Because I hear some of these guitars, some of those kids' guitars, they sound so horrible. How's a kid supposed to learn to love music when they have such a crappy sounding guitar? This isn't much more money than what most of those are, and it sounds pretty good. And by the time, and this would stick with them, if they stick with it till they've outgrown this, then they're probably a pretty decent guitar player, and then they're ready for a quality guitar. But this will give them a decent sound. Like I said, it doesn't have the lows, but it has nice mid-range and the upper end. And if you're picking out melodies, it doesn't do a bad job. So if you have a young person in your house that you're thinking about getting them started, young boy, young lady, I would really seriously consider this over one of those kids guitars. I would get them this in the 24.2 scale length. I said I think it would, if the kid, I don't know if we're really young, but I think most children, because I worked with some a family teaching them some music, and I think he's 10, and he's playing on a full-size guitar, and his hand is a little trouble, and that's on a full-size guitar. So on this, they'd jump right on, and they'd be really good, doing good, and it would sound decent. So anyways, highly recommended. If you think you'd like a parlor guitar, I'll tell you what, this is a lot of value for the money. I don't think I've ever played any guitar in this price range that sounds as nice as this. Everything I've played, definitely played guitars that sounded better than this, but they were significantly more expensive. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, like a Little Martin, I've looked at the Little Martin. You're going to pay $300 for that, and I do not think the Little Martin sounds as nice as this. The Little Martin sounds okay, but I prefer the sound of this over the Little Martin. And the Little Martin is a little bit more shorter scale length, So, but if I was going to start a kid, I would either start him with this or a Little Martin. That's my opinion. If I had a young person, with smaller hands, if I had somebody under 14 and I was going to get him a guitar, I'd either get him this or a Little Martin. So anyways, that's my opinion. Hey, make some music. Bring a little joy into people's life. Make some music, play some music. Thank you very much. It's the String Guy. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this review, and I hope I could help somebody out in making a decision. But keep on playing music. Have a great day. Thank you very much.